If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Mek Wi Talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, Mek Wi Talk. Mek Wi Talk. Unity is strength, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Mek Wi Talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, Mek Wi Talk. Mek Wi Talk. Unity is strength, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Mek Wi Talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, Mek Wi Talk. Mek Wi Talk. Unity is strength, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Mek Wi Talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, Mek Wi Talk. Mek Wi Talk. Unity is strength, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Mek Wi Talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, Mek Wi Talk. Mek Wi Talk. Unity is strength, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Mek Wi Talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, Mek Wi Talk. Mek Wi Talk. Unity is strength, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Mek Wi Talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, Mek Wi Talk. Mek Wi Talk. Unity is strength, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Mek Wi Talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, Mek Wi Talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, Mek Wi Talk. Mek Wi Talk. Unity is strength.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Mek Wi Talk program. We're listening and watching from around the world of the Eastern Caribbean. It is now 6:18 here in the United States, 5:18 in the land of wood and water. The land of wood and water. Good evening to all those in the chat room, all those who are on air. Good evening to you. Good evening, good evening, good evening. For those who in South Africa, Ambassador Andy Mashiley, good evening to you, sir. Or good night to you, yes. For those in London, England, welcome to the program. Those in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and all over the place, who is watching us, as I always say, we're listening, watching from around the world and the Eastern Caribbean. Welcome to another edition of the Mek Wi Talk program. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. This evening we're going to speak about $2.1 billion to repair schools after Hurricane Beryl. We're also going to speak to attorney at law here in the United States, Sir Wayne Goldin, on the U.S. tourist visa proposal to put up $15,000 for you to get a visa. So what I'm going to speak to attorney at law, Mr. Goldin, anytime soon. But before we do that, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what is going on in the land of wood and water with Hurricane Beryl. What I want to put up here right now, after Hurricane Beryl, the government of Jamaica, headed by then Minister of Education, Lady Beryl Williams, and this was published in the Jamaica Gleaner, Hurricane Beryl school repair bill now at $3 billion. And of course, this was published on Wednesday. Here it is, Wednesday, August 28, 2024 at 11:53 a.m. It will now cost more than $3 billion to repair over 362 schools that was damaged by Hurricane Beryl, according to then Minister of Education, Beryl Williams. All right? It went on to say, Education Minister had indicated, given the preliminary figure of $2.7 billion, but at the post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday, Williams indicated that some schools have been damaged enough, so they're not gonna spend over they're not gonna spend over $3 billion. Why are we getting here today? Why we are here today, and why we decided to speak about this evening? I realized something that is not clicking too much. The Gleaner today, let me go back for the Gleaner, not today. Yesterday, the Gleaner reported, go back for that too. Hold on for me, please. Hold on for me, please. We're going to go over to that. The Gleaner of yesterday, the Gleaner report that the Ministry of Education, here it is, let me click on it. The Ministry of Education, the Minister of Education, they have allocated funds. We're going to take off this off of here because in 2024 rather, they said that the Hurricane Beryl school repair bill stood at $3 billion. And it's over, let me find it here. They said it's over 362 schools were damaged by Hurricane Beryl. All right? And the money was given to repair all of those schools. All right? Let us go to this now. Let's take off this off of here. Let's go over to, hold on for me, please, let this thing come up here. Hold on for me. Let me take this and come back here and go to here. Because we need to figure out something here. All right, here we go. Now they're saying, here it is. The Minister of Education published August 5th, 2025 is saying an additional $2.1 billion to repair over 266 schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. So tell me something now. Let me take off about this thing here. Because these people take us for some kunu munu. Let's go back to this one here in 2024. In 2024, the then Minister of Education, Favor Williams, said that the Hurricane Beryl school repair bill is now $3 billion. So my question this afternoon to the Ministry of Education, what happened to the $3 billion in 2024 August? You said this, on Wednesday, August 28, 2024, in the Jamaican Gleaner. You published in the Jamaican Gleaner that the Hurricane Beryl repair bill is now $3 billion. So tell me something now. Take off about this now, because something not add up here. But take off about this. We go back to this. My question this afternoon or this evening: how is it that right here, sir, an additional $2.1 billion to repair over 266 schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl? What happened to the $3 billion? The $3 billion, the schools who were going to pay the $3 billion, the amount of school was 362. 362 schools were going to be repaired by Hurricane Beryl. It went on to say a total of 139 schools were listed as priority, while 116 schools were listed as not so priority. In other words, in that, I can't wait. We need some answers to this. The Ministry of Education needs to answer to the Jamaican people. The minister or the permanent secretary, let me play something here. Because the permanent secretary was somewhere speaking. I got this news from the well-known radio station that everybody don't like. I want you to listen to this.
Allocated an additional $2 billion to repair schools damaged during the passage of Hurricane Beryl in July last year. The announcement was made by Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Dr. Cassan Troop, at a regional leaders conference on Monday.
Pursuant to Hurricane Beryl that we had to rely on first and foremost our $2.5 billion that were provided by our cabinet, our government, to address the priority issues. Once we were able to move into the schools, we saw more work to be done. And so the scopes expanded for some schools. So we exhausted the $2.5 million and we went back to cabinet for additional support. And I'm pleased to announce that we got $2.1 additional billion.
So Permanent Secretary Cassan Troops, what happened to the $3 billion? On August 28, 2024, the then Minister of Education said that Hurricane Beryl school repair bill stood at $3 billion. At that time, you all said that Hurricane Beryl damaged over 362 schools. What happened to that $3 billion? that you people need now an additional 2.1 billion to repair over 266 schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. Something not up here. Something adding up here. The one for the 3 billion, this article was published on Wednesday, August 28, 2024. All right? The then Minister of Education, Beryl Williams, said it will now cost the country and taxpayers $3 billion to repair over 362 schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl. Now you people are telling the Jamaican people this afternoon that an additional $2.1 billion to repair over 266 schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. My question this afternoon, what happened to the $3 billion in 2024? This is some more what Kashan Troops is saying. She is the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education. Listen to her.
To address the carry forward, which we have about 47 schools coming over that have expanded scope of works. So we have to attend to those gaps in terms of funding to complete those contracts. First and foremost, from the $2.1 billion.
364 schools were impacted by Hurricane Beryl. 111 schools, which
364 schools were impacted by Hurricane Beryl. So hold on here now. Want to tell me something now? Who the liar, sir? On August 28, 2024, the then Minister of Education, who is now the Minister of Finance, said it will now cost the country $3 billion to repair over 362 schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl. I mean, I have no sense, our. Something not add up here. The news is saying 364. So from August of last year to August of this year, why didn't they tell the people of this country that more schools were damaged, that they did not look at, or the person, the construction persons from the Ministry of Education didn't go to those schools, and now they found out that some more schools were damaged, so they need an additional 2.1 billion. They said nothing about that. What they're saying to us this evening, that cabinet approved an additional $2.1 billion to repair over 266 schools. So upon that 2.1 billion of August 5th, 2025, and that $3 billion of August 28, 2024, because this was after Hurricane Beryl. August 28 rather, 2024. It was published in the Jamaican Gleaner. And the then Minister of Education, Beryl Williams, said it will cost taxpayers over $3 billion to repair 362 schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl. And then, 1 year later, after they made that statement in the Gleaner, 1 year later, Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Senator the Honorable Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, said it's going to cost the country, she was speaking at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, an additional $2.1 billion. Listen to some more of Cash and Troops. I want to listen to some more of her. Listen to some more of her, please.
were severely damaged were placed in priority 1. Others that sustained moderate or minor damage were classified as priorities 2 and 3, respectively. The government, in response, spent $2.5 billion to carry out repairs. Dr. Troop says the additional allocation is to be used to repair another 266 schools in priority groups 2 and 3.
As we were waiting for funds, we had to prioritize in our maintenance budget that was provided.
Hold on there. In all that Dr. Cashan Troops is saying, until now she hasn't addressed the $3 billion of last year. In all that Dr. Cashan Troops is saying to the people of this country, she has not addressed the $3 billion that was allocated to the Ministry of Education to repair over 362 schools. And I made a line, I'm showing it to you. I'm take a line, I'm take off this. See it here. Let me show it to you. I'm not lying. Here it is. That's Fable right there. She was the then Minister of Education. And she said to the people of Jamaica, Hurricane Beryl School repair bill now top $3 billion Jamaican dollars. Not 3 million, B, 3 billion. And now, this Minister of Education, Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, is saying that an additional $2.1 billion to repair over 266 schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. Neither the minister nor the permanent secretary has not told the Jamaican people what happened to this $3 billion right here. This $3 billion up here, sir. She has not told us what happened to that $3 billion. Is that $3 billion finished? And the schools are in the repair? So they need an additional $2.1 billion. This is some of the permanent secretary.
To address some of the gaps in some of those tier 2 and tier 3 schools. So what that means is that the number of schools that needed attention reduced under tier 2 and 3 because we attended to them through our maintenance budget. More so, it also means that we also delayed some of those schools are already on the list. Now that we are back up, we have those tier 2 and tier 3, and this year we will have 138 schools for tier 2 and 103 schools for tier 3 that we will address this year with the additional $2.1 billion.
Says the ministry's maintenance budget has also been increased.
We got additional funding in our maintenance line. It moved from $450 to $628 million this year. So that will help us to catch up with those schools that we delayed because we prioritized the tier 2 and 3 schools that were damaged by burial.
So if you delayed schools, and she said, you know, she delayed the repair of some schools because she had to prioritize the schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl. Then my question again to you, Permanent Secretary and Minister of Education, Dr. Dana Morris Dixon and Cashan Troops, who's the Permanent Secretary. What happened to that $3 billion that you allocated in 2024 to repair schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl? What happened to that $3 billion? Because you said, you know, that you have to prioritize the schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl. What you need to do, Madam Secretary of Education, my Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education, is to explain to us, the Jamaican people, what happened to that $3 billion for last year. Why do you need an additional $2.1 billion to repair schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl? When you indicated before that you got $3 billion by the former Minister of Education, Favor Williams, said this in 2024, that you all got $3 billion. I am no mathematician. I don't profess to be one. So I need some explanation from the Ministry of Education pertaining to this. Because something that adding up here. One would have believed that if they asked for an additional 2.1 billion, they would have explained to us the 3 billion was spent before. Something that adding up here, and something that smell cautious here.
For the maintenance, we have 202 schools that we are working on for this summer to treat with maintenance, and we have 100 million that we have set aside to treat with termites, and that is about 100
million set aside to treat with termites. Well, we have some termites in the parliament, do you know? Jeffrey behaved himself this evening.
3 schools that will be impacted in the first round. All of that is being done now, so we should be able to wrap up and give you some numbers by the 3rd week in August to tell you how we have progressed with our maintenance efforts.
What you need to do, Dr. Cushion Troops, I'm going to get Mr. Ratigan to help me to file an ATI. You need to explain to us, how did you spend that $3 billion last year? You were the permanent secretary under the former Minister Favor Williams. You're still the permanent secretary under this new minister, Senator Dana Dixon. Explain to us, how did you spend that $3 billion? For those who are just joining us, welcome to the program. I see my my mother inside the chat room, walking in divine purpose. Welcome, my darling. It is now 6:40. At 7 o'clock, we have well-known immigration lawyer, attorney at law, Sir Wayne Cummins, will be my special guest. He'll be speaking to us on immigration problems here in the United States. He'll be speaking to us about the State Department proposing a $15,000 for those who are applying for visa. So we're going to speak about that. But we're here speaking to us, to the Jamaican people, about the education ministry getting an additional $2.1 billion to repair schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. When last year, this is it, last year, August of last year, this was published in the Jamaica Gleaner. August 28, 2024. Hurricane Beryl bill now $3 billion. Let me read this down here so I don't miss this up. I don't know why I see it, I'm look for it. It is now gonna cost more than $3 billion to fund repairs to the 362 schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl, according to Minister of Education Favor Williams. At that time, she was Minister of Education. Now, we are being told today, let me take off this. We're being told today that the current Minister of Education, Senator, here she is, here it is, Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon said they need an additional $2.6 billion to repair over 266 schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. Listen to what this permanent secretary is saying.
Dr. Catherine Troop, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Skills and Youth. The Homeless Administration has allocated an additional $2 billion to repair schools damaged during the passage of Hurricane Beryl in July last year. The announcement was made by Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Catherine Troop, at a regional leaders conference on Monday. Pursuant to Hurricane Beryl that we had to rely on first and foremost our $2.5 billion that were provided by our cabinet, our government to address the priority issues. Once we were able to move into the schools, we saw more work to be done. And so the scopes expanded for some schools. So we exhausted the 2.5 million and we went back to cabinet for additional support. And I'm pleased to announce that we got 2.1 additional billion dollars to address the carry forward, which we have about 47 schools coming over that had expanded scope of works. So we have to attend to those gaps in terms of funding to complete those contracts, first and foremost, from the $2.1 billion. 364 schools were impacted by Hurricane Beryl. 111 schools, which were severely damaged, were placed in priority 1.
The news reporter is saying, because this is what the Ministry of Education told them, that 364 schools were damaged by Hurricane Beryl. All right, now listen to this. Let me take off this off of here for a minute. Hold on there. Going back to this. Take off this here. Let me go and show you something here. Because I don't want anybody to say that I'm lying to the line on these people, you know. This one here. Let me go to here. Oops, sorry. Oh, Lord. Yes, here it is. This one here. The newscaster said that 364. In 2024, the then Minister of Education told the Jamaican people it will cost the country $3 billion to fund repair of over 362 schools. And now, Mrs. So, gonna go look on the Gleaner. See there. The Gleaner published Wednesday, August 28, 2024. The then Minister of Education, it will now cost more than $3 billion to fund repair to over 362 schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl, according to Fairfield Williams. So which number is the true number? Father, I stretch my hand to thee, O God. No other help I have but you. If thou should withdraw thyself from this nation of ours, God. No, sir. Something not adding up here. We need answers. Welcome to the program, everyone. Welcome to the program. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Mek Wi Talk program. You're live.
Yes, good afternoon, Jeffrey, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Yes.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Yes.
You know the question what you need to ask?
Yes, sir.
Who are the contractors that work on these schools? Because you see the same way out in COVID, Justin could not give account for over $400 million in contracts. No paperwork.
Yes.
It's the same thing that keeps happening over and over. And this is the next question. Why the permanent secretary don't tell us the 111 tier 1 schools that were repaired? Because the people in the community authority can tell you that no, that never do. Plus, we can get somebody to go and look and say, the money where you say you spend on this, it's not. But you know what's the problem, Jeffrey?
Yes.
Until we start sending some of them permanent secretary up, prison, nothing less than 50 years. Nothing less than 50 years. Because we've seen over and over where we have money spent and not even the permanent secretary cannot come and give us a breakdown. Why she didn't tell us how much it costs to fix the tier 1 schools and list the tier 1 schools and the amount? Why she never tell us that? That's my 2 cents, my brother.
No, go ahead, man. No, go ahead. Let me answer this question, though. What
Yeah.
I want to find out, though, last year, the Gleaner published this with Favor Williams. August 28, 2024. It will now cost more than $3 billion to fund repair to over 362 schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl. Today's news is saying it's 364. Today's news is saying also that the current Minister of Education, Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, said an additional, along with her permanent secretary, an additional $2.1 billion to repair over 266 schools that were damaged by Hurricane Beryl. My question, sir, is this. What happened to that $3 billion?
That's what I'm saying, Jeffrey. The permanent secretary is saying that the $3 billion was spent on repairing the tier 1 schools.
Oh.
Because if you notice, she's saying we only have tier 2 and tier 3 schools left to repair.
But hold on here.
So we, yeah.
Remember this, you know, that they wanted money to repair the school. They got $3 billion to repair every single school, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, tier 7. $3 billion. So we want to know, come and explain to us then, because I don't want to jump the gun by saying XQYZ. The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Education need to come and tell the Jamaican people what happened to that $3 billion. Where did they spend it?
But Jeffrey, that's what she's telling us. But she's not making any sense. Because if you listen to the amount that tier 2 school that she said is left to repair, it's 100 and something, like 168. And then tier 3 is 103, Jeffrey. In the beginning, they said it was 111 tier 1 schools.
Yes.
So if we go by those numbers, Jeffrey, they are telling us that the money was spent on repairing tier 1 schools. Hardly anything went down to tier 2 and tier 3. But they cannot tell us the 111 tier 1 schools. And they cannot tell us how much millions of dollars was allocated to each one of those schools. And they cannot tell us who is the contractors. And if you look, Jeffrey, just like when they did the school bus, when they did the budget, the money that was allocated for the school bus wasn't in the budget. So I want to ask this question. The people have been crying out for CT scan, MRI, machine, all these machines in the hospital. And despite me not hearing the money from the Ministry of Health is being, why there is no fund like this allocated for an emergency purpose for the hospital? When there's no CT scan in KPH, kids gotta be going to Jubilee and the same thing is coming over. Why? When we see the Prime Minister, No, it's not adding up, but we need to start sending some of these permanent secretaries to prison. Because if we realize it's the same set of permanent secretary over and over, when the public funds is missing or unaccounted for or not spent right, they are the ones who are in charge and signing off on these documents and can't give an explanation. This is gross negligence of their duties.
My friend, I don't know. We're gonna file some ATIs because we need to find out what happened to the $3 billion. Or was it spent?
Hey, Jeffrey, you can go ahead and file ATI, but I watch Ratigan and I file an ATI. And let me tell you, I had said it to Ratigan already and I must say it to you. The people who are in charge of these ministries, you could see when them get your ATI, but they refuse to respond. Some of the time when they respond to Ratigan, is after them climb round in a circle and him still don't get a good answer. So we have so many problems and so many people who are in position who are supposed to be obligated to the Jamaican people. These people are putting party first. It's just like how we cannot get an understanding why the tax authority of Jamaica are not charge Andrew yet.
Aye, my friend.
All right, my brother. Have a good one.
Same to you, man. Same to you. We still want some answers with this because you told us you got $3 billion in 2024 to repair over 362 schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. All right? 3 billion. And now the Ministry of Education is saying that they got an additional 2 billion dollars to repair over 266 schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. Somebody do the math to me. 362, and now they said that 266 schools. So how much school did they repair? At what cost did they repair those schools for? Because she's saying that they're not saying additional, they're saying that they got additional $2.1 billion to repair over 266 schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. So something like that. Kashan Troops, who is now the Minister of Education, the Permanent Secretary Minister of Education, along with the Minister of Education, to come and tell us what is going on. Come and tell us what is really going on. Hold on there for a minute. My son calling me. Hold on there. Yes, sorry about that. I'm so sorry. I'd have to take a call a while ago. I know that producer. Sorry. I do apologize about that. Yes, we were talking about this because we don't understand this. Yes, I know that. I'm back on. $3 billion. $3 billion to repair 362 schools. And now they need an additional $2 billion. So 3 and 2 are how much? Count with me. That's $5 billion. $3 billion. Lord have his mercy, dear God in heaven. $5 billion that's gone on the drain, sir. And they can't come and explain to us what happened to that money. It is now 6:59, a minute before 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, hopefully we have attorney at law, Mr. Wayne Golding, to come and speak to us about immigration policies here in the United States. We want to speak to Mr. Golding about that. Something not adding up here. Something not adding up. Because, anyway, you know what? As soon as I get back my phone, I'm going to have them call and talk to me some more. People to call in and talk to us until Mr. Golding get here. But based on all of these people, all that we are seeing here, by this, because this is what happened in 2024. I hope I can enlarge this thing. Can I enlarge? How do you enlarge this thing here? Oh God, I don't know how to enlarge this thing. Anyway, see there? Hurricane Beryl school repair bill, now $3 billion. Now $3 billion. The Zoom not working, my dear. It's not working. I don't know what happened to the Zoom thing here. Not working properly. But ladies and gentlemen, people, we have to switch this conversation and go over now. We have my guest of the moment, attorney at law, Mr. Wayne Golding, a Jamaican by birth. Mr. Golding, welcome to the Mek Wi Talk program, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you loud and clear. For those who do not know who Wayne Golding is, can you tell them, please?
Well, I practice law here in the United States, both in the state of Florida and also federally. One of the areas of practice that I do handle is immigration, which involves a wide range of things from family petitions to deportation to appeal cases.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let us go over to this now. I see we're in today, or yesterday rather, the State Department issue business and tourist visa post. We have to post a ban of $15,000. Is that US currency or Jamaican currency?
Well, first of all, you got to go back and explain what that is. It's not a
Yes, please.
bond of $15,000. What the administration has done is establish a pilot program wherein people from certain countries applying for visitors or business visa or even student visa to the United States, they will determine if they have to pay a bond anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 in order to get that visa. The purpose of the bond is really twofold. One is to sort of weed out those who can and cannot afford to come to the United States and look at ways of deferring people who want to come and violate the immigration laws. For example, if you come in on a visitor's visa and you work and all of those stuff, you would lose that bond. Or if you overstay your time, you would lose that bond. Any violation of the immigration law would result in you losing that bond. But right now, you asked if it was in Jamaican dollars or US dollars. Obviously, it's in United States dollars. And for now, Jamaica is not currently listed as one of those countries that would be subjected or their citizens applying for entry into the United States as a visitor or business B1, B2 visa would fall in that category. It's geared towards countries with a history of very high overstay rates in the United States, people from their country, United States, and violating the terms of their visa and overstaying. And Jamaica is not currently on that list, but anything can change. You know, it's a policy. It's not a law that was passed by Congress, but rather a policy uh, being put forward by the United States Department of State. And it's a pilot program that's supposed to last a year. And they will look at, after the year, they'll be looking at the effectiveness of the program and whether it's something that they would want to implement permanently or on the books going forward.
So, Mr. Golding, so for instance, saying that they put Jamaica on that list, what would that happen to? What would happen to us now?
Well, I mean, you would be subjected to uh, this discretionary bond being required because it's that U.S. consular officer that interviews you. That person would be the person who would be making that decision on whether they would require a bond and what the amount of the bond would be.
Mhm.
Currently, there's another rule of law it's on the books already as a law where they're going to be charging $250 additional to your visa application in order for you to get a visa to come to the United States. It's a revenue earning directive that came out of the new law that was passed called the Big Beautiful Bill.
Mm-hmm.
But the bond is something that it's a trial program, and you know it's something that the governments diplomatically, I think, would be looking at. The Jamaican government would be looking at that, and if we're seeing that it's going to skew the visiting Jamaican national to the United States to be subject to that, it's a conversation that I would imagine that would be going on between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in Jamaica and the United States counterpart, Department of State here.
Mm-hmm.
So you understand the economic impact that it would have, you know, on people trying to visit or do business in the United States. That's a lot of money for people. But thankfully, as I said, Jamaica is not currently on that list. And if I think we in Jamaica meet certain criteria, like for example, you know, they're looking at countries whose nationals often produce documents that they can't verify, stuff like that. So if Jamaica stays on its P's and Q's in terms of having a certain standard of verification, I think they will be able to steer clear from that.
Mm-hmm. Does a person want to renew their visiting visa now? They're required to go to the American embassy, eh?
Well, I mean, they have a process where you do your appointment online and they will call you in for an interview. Renewing your visa, if you have a good travel record, I don't think most people have anything to worry about. Except, you know, a good travel record doesn't mean that if they give you 6 months to stay in the country, you stay 5 months and 29 days, you know. They look at your travel pattern, they look at who you're coming to visit. They look at your background financially, where you are in Jamaica. They look at things like your education level and the likelihood of you being a person not returning if they were to give you that visa or that permission to enter the United States.
Hmm. Mr. Golden, there's so many things going on now within the United States and immigration. Um, should Jamaicans on a whole be very concerned about the deportation of, ICE going around rounding up people?
Well, if you're here out of status, you should be concerned like any
Mhm.
other person. It seems like the enforcement is directed at black and brown people and people with accents. But one of the things that is really happening is that there is an opportunity now for people even more than ever to turn in people, to call ICE, give them information on other folks. You've had that for years, but now they've opened those lines of communication even wider. What we encourage folks to do, whether you are here with status, without status, even if you're a US citizen, is to walk with your proper identification. Especially if you're a green card holder, it is actually required for you to possess your green cards on you at all time in public. And a lot of people don't know that because they have it, they don't want to lose it, so they leave it at home. At the very least, have some documentation. If you're a U.S. citizen, um, naturalized citizen, keep a copy of your passport on your phone. If you're a U.S. citizen, keep a copy of your birth certificate. And it might sound ridiculous because immigration authorities should not have jurisdiction over U.S. citizens, but we have seen more and more in the last couple of months where U.S. citizens are getting caught up in detention and having to prove their identity. And, because they might look different, they don't look Anglo, they look black, they look brown. Some of these very people who are enforcing the immigration deportation roundup are just picking people randomly and thinking, well, you don't look like an American. Well, the question comes back to who looks like an American, who's an American.
Mhm.
So, as we often say, prevention is better than cure. It's better you have your documentation and you can present it. And, they can do what they want, but
Mhm.
as long as you have that, you should be able to stay out of their way, so to speak. But
Mhm.
at the very least, I would advise people to have proper identification on them at all times. And if you're in the country without status and you get accosted or detained, two things: keep calm and keep your mouth shut. You know, because
Mhm.
they're going to do what they need to do, and then you will have some opportunity to get counsel or to seek the advice of counsel. But I often tell people, don't wait until the horse has gone through the gate. If you're in a position where you are not documented, please find an immigration lawyer, qualified immigration lawyer, to get some advice on, because you
Mhm.
never know what you might learn about your particular situation.
Yes. I see where someone in the chat room is asking if a state ID can given to the people who are going around, like the ICE people, immigration people.
Well, state ID and all IDs now are supposed to comply with what they call the Real ID Act, which should identify your status with that state ID. But a
Mhm.
lot of these people who are now recruited to enforce immigration detention or immigration roundups, a lot of them are not qualified. A lot of them don't, frankly, know the law.
Mhm.
So you can be caught up. Don't be surprised if you're telling them that I'm a U.S. citizen and they take you into custody anyway.
Mhm.
Because that's part of what's happening now. Because even some states are arguing that the immigration authorities are recruiting their law enforcement officers to work for the immigration authorities, offering them as much as $50,000 over
Oh.
5 years as a bonus. So I mean, there are things going on, but the main advice to folks is just to keep your head as low as possible and stay out of conflict. Don't go driving, you don't have a driver's license, because that's one of the most common way to encounter
Mhm.
immigration authorities. You get stopped, you don't have an expired driver's license, you have no driver's license, because now state officers, especially in the state of Florida, are now empowered to enforce immigration detention.
Mhm. What about those who may have a 2-year green card? Would they're allowed, they're supposed to carry that on them at all times, right?
All green cards, yes, doesn't matter what it is. As long as you have a green card, that's your source of identifying yourself as a legal permanent resident of the United States.
I see somebody in the chat room, Miss Williams, Joyce Williams, is asking, is it you must have a naturalization certificate or a birth certificate? Which one it is?
Anything that proves that you're a United States citizen. If it's a copy of your naturalization certificate, because once you become a US citizen, you're not required to carry your naturalization certificate. But everybody has a smartphone. I say, instead of getting in the middle of the confusion, you have a copy of that on your phone.
Mhm.
If you are born here in the United States, I would suggest you have your proof, a copy of your birth certificate, or if you have a US passport. you know. A lot of people are getting what they call passport cards.
Mhm.
So, there are ways to do this. And people might say, well, that sounds like a bother. But I must tell you, you don't want to be detained in immigration jail, so to speak. Facilities are not very nice. No jail is nice, as a matter of fact, but you have overcrowding situation. You have people in there with all kinds of different ailments. They're pooling people together in tight spaces. People are not getting to see their attorneys um, as quickly as they should. So you don't want to get caught up in that situation. And you see all these videos. A lot of people are challenging and conflicting and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
One thing you don't want to do is get hurt. It's demeaning the way they treat people and deal with people. It's disrespectful. We see that all the time. But you will have to play it safe for yourself as an individual. You have to know what not to say and what not to do and what not to resist, because you could end up losing your life.
Mm. Mm. For those who are, say they're married to a U.S. citizen and they're applying for their stuff, and the stuff haven't come through as yet, what would you suggest to them that should do?
Well, let's go back and see what that was before. Usually, if you're what is called adjusting status through a marriage to a U.S. citizen, or you're a parent of a U.S. citizen, or you're a child of a U.S. citizen, um, and you put those paperwork in, usually you'll be able to get a work permit, and the process continues until you get your interview and they determine if your status is adjusted to that of a permanent resident. And usually those people, under normal circumstances, those people had no issues. Once they saw that you had pending paperwork in those categories, wherein you're eligible to stay in the United States and adjust your status here.
Mm.
But what has been happening now is that they have taken a fine-tooth comb to the law where those categories are concerned, and they're telling people now, even though you're filed for and you're being processed and you have a work permit, we still consider you as being in the country out of status because you've overstayed your time. And they can, at their discretion, detain you and put you into immigration court if they choose to. It's discretionary on their part. If they feel that you're amenable, what they call amenable to removal, they can detain you. So what I've been advising my clients in a nutshell is please keep your head low, stay out of conflict. You're not home safe yet. Until you actually get that green card, you're not home safe. You can still be detained. You can still be brought in for an immigration judge. And that could mean that you would have to start your whole process over. You'd have to try and get a bond to get out of immigration jail. Or you could be detained if they decide not to give you a bond. So, the nuance is there. And for people who are in this process, they still have to be wary and still have to be careful.
Mhm.
You know, they have to be very careful because you can be detained and deported.
Mm. Wow, some great information here tonight, Mr. Golden, because a lot of people have been down on me to get an attorney at law to come and speak to us about all of this. Let me ask you this question though, Sir Golden. If for instance saying that you are um applying for your green card from Jamaica, all right? Let's forget about the deportation thing here now. You're applying for a green card from Jamaica. Can that person get a visa to travel?
Okay, how it works is somebody would petition for you to become a permanent resident here in the United States.
Mhm.
And you have different categories, obviously. And depending on the category you're in, it is the amount of time it takes for that visa to become available for you to be able to apply and then come to the United States based upon an approval. Now, this time frame can take anywhere from roughly a year to 13 years, depending on what category you're in. In
Mm.
the interim, there might be some people who had a visa, uh, visitor's visa, prior to an application being put in, or those who desire to get a visa during the time the application is processing. There's nothing to stop you from applying for the visa. However, once you're filed for in the immigration system, they determine that you are what is called your prospective um, resident, meaning you are in the process of trying to come to the United States permanently, okay, as a permanent resident. And it is their discretion, they call you an intending immigrant. That's the exact term. It
Mhm.
is up to the consular officer's discretion whether or not to grant you a visa if you're applying for one to travel or any other purpose, or if you're going to renew a visa, whether they should renew the visa, or if you have a visa that's live, whether they should cancel that visa. So it's discretionary on the part of the embassy in
Mhm.
terms of whether or not you'll be granted a visa or granted a renewal.
Mhm.
And then again, as I said, it's subjective. They look at you, they look at your travel pattern, they look at your background, they look at you, even though you have papers being processed, if you're somebody who's most likely to leave on a visa and not return.
Mhm. Let me ask you this question, Mr. Golden. If a person's applying, if a person were to renew their green card, can they apply for citizenship at the same time?
Yes, yes. If you fall in the category where you are eligible to become a citizen, which is if you received your green card through marriage to a U.S. citizen, you can apply for a citizenship within 3 years of receiving that first green card. Or if you are a person who received their permanent resident by other filing, like for example, a parent filed for you, a child filed for you, there's a 5 year window. At the end
Mhm.
of the 5 years, if you're a person of good moral character with all the attributes that they want, you can apply.
Mhm.
In the meantime, either of those category of people would have had a green card, and the purpose of citizenship is to take you from that status as a legal permanent resident to one of a U.S. citizen, which opens up a lot more doors and rights for you in the country that you've chosen to live. So yes, you you must have a green card in order to move to the next
Mhm.
stage of applying for U.S. citizenship.
A person who is hold on there. Jeffrey asks about people who have US university degree students. How can they apply for a green card? I don't understand this question. If a person is here in the United States on a say a student visa, can they apply for a green card?
No, they cannot apply for a green card on their own. They would have to be the beneficiary of a petition, either through employment, that is one category, and you have to be in legal status at the time. You can be applied for as a person with exceptional skills and talents. You can be applied for by a relative who's qualified to apply for you, and it would mean that you could stay in the United States and process your paperwork. But like I said, it's called an adjustment of status. But you on your own, um, without the proper qualifications, if you wouldn't be granted a green card just like that. You know, you have to fit in certain categories, as I said. And somebody on a student visa, of course, for example, suppose that person gets married to a U.S. citizen, good faith marriage, because we don't encourage people to try these fake marriages for immigration benefits, because that's a criminal offense here in the United States. You can actually be sentenced to federal prison for up to 10 years for participating in any fake marriages. So, you know, if you have a good marriage and married to a U.S. citizen, you can document that. Obviously, that U.S. citizen can file for you even if you're a student here in the United States.
For those who are already here in the United States, as what you said before, they have to be very careful if they have, you know, they don't have a driver's license, don't drive. If they have their green card, still, you know, travel around with your stuff on you, but trying to get in a conflict at all. What do you say now?
I didn't get that last part.
Oh, sorry. For those who are already here, who has a green card, are those who should have a green card, try not to get into the conflict and make sure you have your green card on you at all times.
Correct.
Okay. So I hope we answered that question. Who was asking that question in the chat room a while ago? Mr. Golden, tell us some other stuff that you think that the people should know.
In terms of
in terms of maybe deportation, in terms of spouse sponsoring you and so forth.
Well, you know, it's a minefield out there. You know, the first thing I would tell people is, if you're applying for an immigration benefit, please use an attorney. There are people out there charging people some inordinate amount of money. It's even more than attorneys will charge. And they're doing things incorrectly, or they are not filling out the forms correctly, or they're putting information that they don't realize that every box that you fill out on any of these immigration form means something legally. And omission of information is as bad as putting the wrong information. The fees are very costly, so you cannot afford to file these applications and have them rejected and not be able to get a refund for your fees. Because once you pay them and they cash that, you'll never see that money back again. You know, if people have issues, for example, you have something on your record, a criminal record, no matter how small it is, before you apply for any immigration benefits, you should explore with an immigration attorney if that will affect you or even put you into deportation. Or also, if you have anything in your background that's of a criminal nature, do not travel until you consult with an immigration attorney, because there are some offenses that don't make you deportable. But if you leave the country, it does make you what we call inadmissible to come back in. So there are some offenses, like, for example, possession of marijuana under 30 grams. If you have one offense, you're not deportable because of that offense. But if you should choose to go on a cruise, vacation, go home for a funeral, a wedding, graduation, once you try to come back in the country, that officer can refuse you entry or refuse the admission and send you to see an immigration judge for deportation, official deportation.
Mm.
So there are many nuances to immigration law. It's not just filling out documents. And we encourage people to get proper advice. I mean, there's so many things that can be pitfalls and landmines for you. And even though you're eligible for benefit, an immigration benefit, the way you go about it might disqualify you.
I see somebody asked a question here in the chat room, Mr. Golden. Mr. Jeffrey asked him, what about someone that is filing for and for over 8 years and have not heard anything? What should they do?
Well, they would have been provided with a receipt number that they can use to inquire even online. But it all depends on what category you're in. For example, if a US citizen is filing for a sibling, a brother or a sister, that's a category that takes up to 12, 13 years, you know, versus if you're a US citizen filing for your spouse or your child under 21, that's a category that usually takes about a year if you are outside of the country, you know. I would suspect if somebody's filed for and is waiting 8 years and they're inside of the United States, they can get an approval. But when it comes time for adjustment of status, you wouldn't be able to stay in the United States to get your paperwork. You'd have to leave and go back to your country of origin. And that in itself can present a problem because if you've overstayed in the United States up to a year, you can get a 3-year ban from coming back in. If you've overstayed over a year, you can get a 10-year ban from coming in. And that's why you used to hear these horror stories about people going back home to get their documents after being filed for and getting stuck. That's what that meant. Yes, you're eligible for your documents, but because you overstayed and you don't have a waiver to come back, you get banned from coming back into the country for those periods of time, depending on how long your overstay was.
The individual said that my mother filed for me for years. I am in Jamaica and my mother in the United States.
Right. So, that category, it all depends what category he's in. And if he's in what we look at, that most likely is an F3 category, that would be the wait time.
Sorry,
that
Mr.
would
Golden.
be a significant wait time. But
Sorry, Mr. Golden. Can you repeat what you said a while ago? You just broke up a while ago. Repeat what you said a while ago, please.
I said if he's in Jamaica and his mother's in the United States,
Yes.
Yeah. Is she a U.S. citizen? Is she a green card holder? Those are categories that would be different time frames. And 8 years is not uncommon, but if he hasn't heard anything, I mean, his mom can always inquire on the status of the case with the immigration authorities.
So for instance, saying that, so if the person has not heard anything, the mother who is a United States citizen, okay, if the person is a green card holder, and can a green card holder apply for somebody in Jamaica to come up? In other words, citizen, no?
Yes, can apply for persons in different categories. Unmarried child, for example, a green card holder can apply for that person. And when I say child, I mean under 21.
Yes.
Right. If you're over 21 now, that's a whole different ball game. If you get married, it bumps you out. Also, if the person's a U.S. citizen, you will get have a shorter time for processing. But like I said, if they applied for them in 8 years and they say they've heard nothing, that could be a loaded term. It could be that by now they should have at least paid the affidavit of support fee, immigration visa fees, all kind of stuff. But they have to contact the not the U.S. Embassy. They would have to contact the National Visa Center here in the United States to see what's going on. Because if they approve the application, then the file goes to Jamaica, and basically the U.S. Embassy there starts to process the file. But before that file goes to Jamaica, there are certain fees that have to be paid. They would send you a letter to say your application is in process. Pay this fee, pay that fee. So they might want to look and make sure that they have not missed any correspondence from the National Visa Center.
So Annie, you heard what Mr. Golden said. Your mother is a U.S. citizen, yes. So what your mother need to do is to maybe find out what is going on, and if she had paid the what the fee again, Mr. Golden?
The visa fee and the affidavit of support fee.
Right. So you need to find that out from your mother, Annie, to see if she have done all of that for you. If you're just joining us, we're speaking to immigration attorney at law, Mr. Wayne Golden. This is the Mek Wi Talk program. And thank you all for coming on. Mr. Golden, what about someone who married to a U.S. citizen but have children home who is not of that marriage? How do they go about doing that?
Well, the step parent can file for those children.
Okay.
That's as simple as I can put it. As long as they're under the age of 21, the step parent can petition for those children also.
So Wayne Golden, attorney at law. I guess this is it. We don't have any more questions. Any more questions in the chat room? If Mr. Golden have any more additional information can give us, we'd appreciate it, because there's a lot of people who may be afraid to come and talk to us. But if you have any more additional information that can give us pertaining to what is going on here in the United States and about immigration, please go ahead for us, sir.
Well, I mean, as far as information, the only thing I would tell people, invest a consultation fee with an immigration attorney and fully explain your situation. Be very truthful about everything so that the lawyer can advise you accordingly. Because at the end of the day, everyone's case is different. No matter how like it sounds or seems, and you see these cookie cutter type of advice on social media and all of these things, it may not apply to you. So invest in a consultation fee with an immigration attorney, fully explain your situation, take any paperwork that you have to that consultation, and so that you'll be able to make a good decision. Because there are some people where honestly they can't be assisted. There are some people who actually would benefit from being put in deportation, believe it or not, because it would open some other options to them. And there are some people who might just need to consider leaving, if they don't want to face the disrespect and all the problems that would come about being detained.
Yes.
If you do have family and children here in the United States, business in the United States, bank accounts, houses, whatever, these are all things you have to put things in place to take care of in case you get caught up in deportation, especially with your children. Who's going to take care of them? Because people are here with U.S. citizen children, but they don't have paperwork themselves. Would those children leave with you? Who would take care of those children in the interim? Who would you want to give a power of attorney to take care of your business? So there are many facets to it. Can't cover it all. But as I said, your individual situation is what it is. And please take the opportunity to go speak with an attorney, immigration attorney. What you might spend on the consultation might end up saving your whole life and your whole life savings.
Before you go, Mr. Golden, Stephanie, I don't understand the question you're asking. Mr. Golden, Anne Marie's asking me if I can get well, Anne, not Anne Marie. Anne is asking if she can get your number to call you, sir.
Yeah, they would have to call my office to set up an appointment, a consultation
Yes.
with us. Our number is 407
Hold on for me. 407
574
574
8691.
8691. That's Mr. Golden number. 407 407, where it is? Come on. Yeah, 407 574 8691. You can call and get set an appointment to speak to him or to see him. He's willing to speak to you. Holder become a citizen. Yes, sir. Somebody's asking if a green card holder can become a citizen. Yes, that can happen. And Mr. Golden, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, that can happen. Mr. Wayne Golden, attorney at law, one of Jamaica's attorney at law who a lot of Jamaicans run to for answers when it comes on to immigration issues here in the United States. And he's on a lot of radio stations in Jamaica giving answers to so many issues facing Jamaicans here in the United States. I want to say thank you, sir, for coming on to the Mek Wi Talk program.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And I hope you won't be a stranger now. I hope I can. I've never been a stranger because whenever I call you, you always tell me yes, you can come on. So thank you for coming on, sir.
Okay, no problem. Take care. Have a good night.
Same to you, sir.
All right.
Mr. Wayne Golden, you're welcome, sir. Mr. Wayne Golden, attorney at law, immigration lawyer, attorney at law here, coming on the Mek Wi Talk program to speak to us about immigration issues that many people here who are Jamaicans and other nationals who are facing issues in the United States. It is now 7:40, 6:40 in the land of wood and water. We're listening, watching from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. This is the Mek Wi Talk program. We may go up until 8 o'clock. If not, then we're going to call it a night. For those who want to call into the program, you can call in at 954-529-8030. This is the number to call in. 954-529-8030. That's the number to call into the program to speak to us about any issues. 954-529-8030. That's the number to call into the program to speak to us about issues that you may be facing back home or any other issues. If you have a question to ask me to send to Mr. Golden, I can do that for you too. But the number so Mr. Golden can put up in the chat room again. My good at walking in divine purpose. Put that in the chat room again for us, please. The number for Mr. Golden for people to call in to speak to him. You can tell him you can tell him you saw him on the Mek Wi Talk program, and he will definitely speak to you then. You know, he definitely speak to you pertaining to whatever issues you have to speak about. The numbers to call is 954-529-8030. Thank you, Walking in Divine Purpose, for putting back up the number for us, please. 954-529-8030. There is, I'm gonna pick somebody randomly. Walking in Divine Purpose. You know those who always megawatt what's going on. You know those who are always on the program here. Can you get somebody who's always on the program here that we can, send them a gift? We're gonna give away some t-shirts. Okay. I should never done that, because Walking in Divine Purpose told me not to do that yet. Good information, yes indeed. Well, nobody not call. Good afternoon, welcome to Mek Wi Talk program. You're live. Good evening. Can you turn off? Jesus, always mercy, dear God. Whenever you call to the program, please turn off your device in the background, please. The number to call into the program is 954-529-8030. That's 954-529-8030. It's also a WhatsApp number. So the numbers to call is 954-529-8030. I guess nobody want to call in. Somebody call in and hang up. Today is what? Tuesday? There is a video going around on social media where the owner for Nationwide News, I saw the video, you know. I didn't plan to put it on. The owner for Nationwide News end up offering or saying that somebody should box the General Secretary of the People's National Party, Mr. Dayton Campbell. I never know that hold on there for me. Jefferson, my t-shirt. I never know that can 10 persons send me your address, please? Let me do that this way then. I never know that, you know what, no. I never know that Dayton Campbell, I never know that Mr. Hughes, Clifton Hughes, would end up saying something like that on his area. That somebody should box Dayton Campbell. For what? We expect better than that from Mr. Hughes. But of course, you know, I think people is getting not to like Mr. Hughes because of his utterance that he's making. He's making some utterance that is not good at all. Well, it is now 7:45. We're going to close the program because we're getting the calls. No one is calling. We're going to close the program. I'm going to see if I can get another attorney at law to come on and open up the phone lines. To open up the phone lines. Let me get back this number for you here. I think. Hold on for me, please. The number is 407-574-8691. That is the number for Mr. Wayne Golden. Let me put it up right here. The number to call attorney at law Wayne Golden is 407-574-8691. You can tell him that you heard him on the Mek Wi Talk program with yours truly, Jeffrey Tavares. That's the number to call Mr. Wayne Golden, immigration attorney at law. 407-574-8691. That's 407-574-8691. That's the number to call immigration lawyer, Mr. Wayne Golden. And Stephanie, the question you put up here, I'm trying to understand the question. Oh, the person came here when they were 13 years old on a permanent green card, but did not apply for citizenship. Oh Lord, if you had written this, if you had written it like this, then I would have asked Mr. Golden. But you can call Mr. Golden and you can have some consultation with him. Don't bother believe that when I call him, going to be free questions, you know. You have to pay for the consultation, I'm pretty much sure. Pretty much sure you have to pay for the consultation. All right? The numbers to call him is 954. The numbers to contact Mr. Wayne Golden is 407-574-8691. That's the numbers to contact Mr. Wayne Golden. And this is where I'm going to say thank you very much. Boy, hey, these students here on my Mek Wi Talk program, they're easy to walk in the divine purpose. Somebody sent me a message a while ago, you see? Hello, good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome to our program. You're live.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. How are you doing, my friend?
Yes, I just tuned into your program.
Yes, man. I was speaking.
But
Are you aware of the $3 billion that was given to the Ministry of Education to fix 62 schools? And
oh Lord,
and now they're getting another $2 billion to fix over 266 schools. What is really
that's
going on?
obviously an election announcement. Because those funds are not available to repair the school. So it's a promise that will go over the election.
Well, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education said that she have gotten the $2 billion.
So will it be spent before the election? No.
Well, it's supposed to spend because the school year starts soon.
By the time they should tender the contracts and all of that, election would have passed. So that is obviously an announcement to trick the people of Jamaica. Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that it's tricking the people, sir?
Obviously.
Talk to us about what. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No. The government is making several announcements, that are not practical.
Yes.
They have fooled the Jamaican people many times, and they want to do the same thing again.
Yes.
But the people are not having any of that.
Yes. All right, my
friend. And with Cliff Hughes making a violent statement against Dr. Campbell, that is despicable. And it's also class prejudice. But Cliff Hughes need to remember that his mother was a cleaner at a brothel.
A what?
Before he reaches where he's at now.
I wouldn't speak about Mr. Hughes' mother, sir.
She was a cleaner out by Rockfoot. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, but
Jeffrey.
She didn't do anybody anything, sir.
I agree with that, but he has no right.
No, hold on there for me. Mr. Hughes is the one who made the comments, sir. I would put his mother into this at all, sir.
Okay. I can understand that, Jeffrey. But he needs to be careful when he's making those violent statements, Jeffrey.
Yes, he does. All right, my friend.
It's unacceptable. Mm-hmm. And as you said, he has a license to operate on the airwaves, and he's making those kind of statements. That's unacceptable, man.
It is.
The people who listen to his program should hold him accountable, or the Broadcasting Commission. You can't give a radio station license and then irresponsible journalists are uttering those words. Then the license must be reviewed. Because, he has become a political hack. That is why he has made those uncomfortable statements. You see, when you allow your judgment to be overshadowed by political preference, these are the kind of utterances you will make that prevent a free press from operating in the country.
Indeed. Gotta run, my friend. I have a conference call coming out. We want to take the conference call. I want to take this one call and I go. All right, thanks for calling me.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to our program. You're live.
Yes, Jeffrey. Good evening. Let me turn this down quickly.
Hurry up because
okay, good evening again. And good evening to everyone in the chat.
Hurry up for me because I have to run to a conference call and my wife calling me too. Go ahead.
Okay. Cliff Hughes. Let me tell you this. Mr. Campbell has the right to free speech to say what he wants to say, as long as he was not attacking anyone.
Yes.
Okay, sir? So you're going to refer to him that someone to box him. What you said is wrong, and I hope you apologize for that. Okay, sir? That is very wrong. That's what you call it. They're inciting violence. Okay, sir? That's for you. Okay. Quickly, I'm going to say these two things, Jeffrey, and get off the phone. I want to see or hear the names of the additional 8 illicit persons leading up to the general election. This is a must, and it must happen. And I'm calling on the Prime Minister. If you want to stay in that lonely zone all by yourself, because it's not you alone, and don't call their names, too bad for you. Too bad for you right now to protecting those other illicit 8, because you already know 2. So I'm calling on you, Mr. Prime Minister. Please.
You will never call anybody name.
Well, whatever. Whatever Jeffrey understand, or the IC. But we need to know.
Well,
the people needs to know. Okay, all right. And the next thing, I'm waiting on Mr. Vaz, and I know it's not only me. The nation is waiting on him to come out and tell us all about the buses before the election is called. They're breaking down on the road. All type of accident is happening with those buses on the road. And if he's shame, he's a shame. Put shame aside, sir, and face your trouble that you have begun. Okay? Thank you. Good night, Mr. Jeffrey.
Wow. Well, this is where we're going to say so long for tonight. Thank you all for calling in. Thanks for everything. I want to say thanks to Walking in Divine Purpose. Thanks to our producer, Walking in Divine Purpose. Thanks to all those who make this possible. Thanks to Attorney at Law, Immigration Attorney at Law, Mr. Wayne Golding, for coming onto the program this evening to speak to us. Thank you all very much. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Mek Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares program. Until you hear my voice again, may God bless you. May God bless our island home, Jamaica land we love. Good evening.
Strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, Mek Wi Talk, my people, Mek Wi Talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Mek Wi Talk, people, Mek Wi Talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, Mek Wi Talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Mek Wi Talk.